We're good. We're good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bearing with us. Our internet was down and all day today, we've been scrambling to try to get all of our documents loaded. I'd like to call to order the village board meeting Tuesday, May 20th. Let's stand. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Clerk will now call the roll. Babcock.
Here.
Rhoda.
Here.
Simon.
Here.
Me.
Here.
Right.
Here.
May I have a motion to lay over the village board meeting minutes until our next meeting? They are work in progress.
So moved. Second.
Right.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or anyone online who would like to address the board at this time? If so, please state your first and last name. There'll be another opportunity. Okay. President's report. Get the two things on the agenda. I wanted to share something with you that I learned today. Our Public Works Director's wife, Stacy Hughley Taylor, was awarded by the State Superintendent of Education a 2025 award as a teacher in excellence for demonstrating exceptional commitment and collaboration and creating a positive environment that promoted great student success. So this was done at a meeting in Springfield. Bloomington, and quite an exceptional award since its nominations across the state. So extend to her our congratulations and very proud. We have with us tonight a distinguished visitor, George Gallroth. Many of you may know him, but if not, George, would you introduce yourself to everyone and yes, lay the bad news on us.
Okay. George Gallrath, there's a Scrivener error on your agenda tonight. It's Gaulrapp, in case you want to know, make corrections. I work for Commonwealth Edison, past mayor of Freeport, Illinois for 2 terms. So I've been on that side of the desk and I understand what a lot of things, when things happen, the feelings of the administration, your staff, and also the citizens of Roscoe. The news I'm bringing tonight was on the news this morning. The mayor and Joseph and I met a week and a half ago to talk about this. Throughout the electric organization grids of the United States, there's 10 transmission line operators. The largest ones being in Southeast, Southwest, and Northwest. The other 7 throughout the nation, and the one that we use or we're part of is PJM, which includes 13 different states from New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, all the way to Illinois. And what this does is they have the transmission line and they support and supply good, reliable energy across the 13 states. And in order to get the energy, they don't generate it, they buy it. They go out to an auction, and the auction is for 12 months long and starts in June all the way to the next May. So unfortunately, this auction, the prices were high. It was difficult to bid on it and get it. So all those supply costs are passed on to the consumer, to the ratepayers. So when you look at your bill, there's 2 sides to your bill. There's the supply side, which Commonwealth Edison has nothing to do with, and then the delivery side, which we do have everything to do with. We supply the power. So when you go outside, we're the wires and the poles. That's what we do. We don't generate power. So in turn, the costs are passed on with no cost going to ComEd. It's just a clear, balanced pass through but the cost is going to be about $10.50 per month on the average bill for the next 12 months. On the supply side, you'll see like a $14, almost $15 bill, but then you'll see a credit for carbon-free supply. The energy that we use here is the carbon-free supply from the nuclear plants. So your bill is, at the end of the day, the net sum gain is $10.50. Now, those who are in need that qualify through low income programs that will start 2026. They can apply for those. We have energy efficiency programs, which the municipality, I'll get the exact numbers, but you save hundreds of thousands of dollars in Roscoe through energy efficiency programs. So we continue to drive those, and that information is available at the ComEd.com website for yourself and for your constituents to look at and participate in. Nobody likes to pay more. We can tell you, and I'm sure you guys have said this before, ComEd is really low cost compared to your neighbors. But it's similar to your tax bill. I assume Roscoe is very similar. You have several different taxing bodies. The Village of Roscoe may hold their taxes at bay, while one of the other taxing bodies raise theirs. So the tax bill goes up, but it's no fault of yours. That's very similar to how I look at it with ComEd. We're keeping everything as low as we possibly can while still supplying good, reliable energy to our constituents or to our ratepayers. And when something affects it like this, it really affects us too. So, and who's available to be blamed? It's not PJM, it's ComEd, it's George Gullrang. So when people reach out, and I'm more than happy to talk to your ratepayers if they're really upset, they come to you or come to the mayor or the administration. I'll be happy to talk to them. So it's not a problem. In fact, I'd like to go to different organizations, your chamber, your Lions Club, things like that. I would love to talk to people to explain what ComEd really does. So do you have any questions?
I read yesterday that this auction might be challenged.
Oh, I did not read that. The only
read yesterday that the auction might be faced as unfair, and we're gonna question that. And
well, that's something new, and I'll try to find an answer for you. Do you guys go by council members, trustees?
Trustees.
Trustee, right? So I recognize trustee, right? And trustee Babcock. I'm not for sure I recognize anyone else. So from past years.
If I can jump in too, along the same lines you're mentioning the rates, the prices. So we did contact we have municipal aggregation here.
Yes.
And we contacted with our provider, and so they are not going to be passing through the fee onto it. So we're locked in at least for a year until I think up to September of 26.
Mm-hmm.
We are locked in with our current rate of 779. So we are locked in with that, which we did 2 years ago at this point. We've been doing municipal aggregation for the last bunch of years now.
Yes.
So that's really nice. So that will help out. So hopefully spread the word when people are seeing their bills and coming into it, they can join our program anytime.
Yes.
So we have an opt-in program, they can join anytime they want to. So you can pass it out to your, neighbors, to your people who come and talk to you about that. So
Yeah, and
at least for a year, we're locked in at that lower rate. So
yeah. So that's your RES, which is your residential electrical service. And it's really good that you participate in that. The other side is the capacity charge that we got from PJM. So when I looked at the online newspaper stories, there's about 10 of them today, and everyone says ComEd's raising their rates. ComEd is not raising their rates. ComEd is passing through the charge that comes through. So this has nothing to do with ComEd. We're very proud of what we do and hold the rates down, but this is unfortunate. This is something we all have to deal with. Any other questions?
George, so Dane and John are new, that's why you don't recognize them.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
And same with Kim, our clerk. So your offer is still open, they have here's a tour, but the food is great when you go to the tour. So
Yeah, we held the mayor and Roscoe, they're part of NIMA, which is Northern Mayor's Association. And we hosted about 2 years ago at our training center. We'd love to do it again. I talked to Cookie, who's the clerk and takes care of all the scheduling, and said we'd like to get back on the schedule. I'm not for sure if trustee Babcock enjoyed the tour or the food more, so.
I had to leave before the, actually, but I heard about it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Part of the constituency of Roscoe lives north where we have Rock Energy.
Yes.
Do they use PJM and are they subject to the same things that are going on with ComEd? I haven't heard anything. I live in that area. My neighbors do. We haven't heard anything about a rate increase from Rock.
I'll have to check to see if Wisconsin's in the PJM territory. I know Indiana is, I know everybody to the east, but I'll find out for you. Okay.
And I know you said that it's not ComEd's, necessarily, it's PJM.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any control who the grid operator that
No.
work under?
No, this is a federal organization, the federal government, they are regulated. They're one of the 7 other ones. So no, we don't have any control there.
Because from what I read, it was a capacity thing
Yes.
and that said PJM didn't go to the auction for the 3 years that they normally do for a 3-year period. Is that correct? Or
I haven't heard that. My assumption is that they're there every year. So, and that's where we get to power. They have the transmission lines. They're a regional transmission organization and RTO. And that's what we're part of. It's the 13 different states. And each state, each company, ComEd has sister companies in Philadelphia and Baltimore and others on the East Coast. Everybody's afflicted with the same rates, capacity rates that we're seeing.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay, if you ever want me to come back or if you have questions, Mayor has, and Jeff or Joseph has my contact information. I'd be happy to come back. Okay,
Thank you.
you got a good lawyer.
George. Appreciate it, bud.
Right, the next on our agenda, perhaps the new board members are not familiar with David Sidney. David Sidney of Place Boundary is going to give us an overview and summary of some of the things that have happened over the last year or so.
Thank you. Thank you.
What you signed earlier, David? You signed it all?
Yes.
Okay.
And Joe has also pulled up the packet that I just handed up to you on the screen, just to walk through really kind of where we've been and where we're at and what's ahead in terms of both the work that we've done with you for Main Street and then also for I-90 and Brockton Road. For those of you who don't know, I'm David Sidney with Place Foundry. We're based here in Rockford. We've been working with the village of Roscoe over the last 12+ months to and both on the Main Street corridor plan and then as well as doing some work on I-90. So tonight I'll just walk through you briefly through just a review of our partnerships so far, the work accomplished, initiatives underway, and then what I pivot to in terms of a transition here from planning work to implementation and I believe will help inform your discussions as a board. As I shared with you when we first started this journey, actually, we started Q4 of 2023 on page 3 there, just helping you to really figure out how do you want to see the Main Street in as village center, village core differently, and to help you transform that from what it is today to where it can go. At that time, we started with really a place, our place coaching. You see on page 4, we started with just a coaching workshop session here. And that's, if you remember, we started throwing out all the various ideas as to what could Main Street look like. What is the kind of future that you want to see in the rest of the community. Fast forward 2024, we completed the place mapping report and as well as the blueprint, which is the corridor plan. And so where we're at right now is design and development there at the end. The timeline, you brought us on page 6 to help you do both place mapping and the blueprint. And so when you look at page 7, you'll see, as I said, we had our coaching session and delivered a comprehensive report that really launched the work for Main Street. We then moved into doing a zoning analysis and concept plans, as well as market analysis work for you as well in terms of what are the opportunities for commercial and residential development along Main Street. That was foundational for us to then we pivot into doing some planning sessions here, walking through what those concepts could look like. And it was a mix of coming out of that first coaching session of what are some tactical projects that could get going already, as well as we're trying to look at a long-term plan, looking out 10 years out from now, what are the possibilities of moving towards that. You'll remember during that time, it was during that both the session and some of the early stages, 2 key projects that came up that were presented here was one which relates to the Bridge Street parking lot project, and then the pop-up incubator retail opportunity to do that at Hodges Run. Those 2 ideas, and really in that session when we were discussing it, and Trustee Wright, when your visit to Batavia, and then what we did is then we did some deeper dive research and said, yeah, that's a project that could get going immediately. Now we'll have that in the plan, but let's figure out how to make that happen, as well as the Pavilion Street project, which I think at the time was more seen as providing additional parking, but how could we maximize that space to be more than just parking, a real public gathering space. And so you all have played a role in that project as well. And then we at the end of last year, we completed the blueprint and really moved in this year into sort of the implementation side of the work, with a significant area around establishing the Business District Alliance to really help execute the Main Street project. On page 8 just outlines just more of those specifics that we've had, as I said, we've had some planning workshops here open to the public. And a lot of the input that we received here really informed those initial design concepts that you saw, both for the Bridge Street Pavilion as well as the pop-up incubator space in the park, play space there located in the rear of that project. We've had conversations with North Point, but more as it relates to Rockton Road, but also their desire to really be supportive of the work that happens here in Main Street. They see this as critical to their recruitment efforts for employees to the community, as well as other businesses have communicated that in the process. State Line YMCA has expressed a significant interest in being a part of seeing the Main Street corridor develop. And so we had some conversations with them as well, and they've been now participating in the Business District Alliance sessions. We then launched our overview session on the 13th of March at North Point, and it was a well-attended event. Some of you were present for that, and then we kicked off our first workshop last month, and then we've got our second session coming up next week. And I've been very encouraged. I hope you've been very encouraged by the participation and the input that's been coming into that process as it relates to the Business District Alliance. Page 9, 10, 11 really just kind of distills it for you in terms of the key achievements. Some of I've talked about as it relates to the market analysis, poverty assessment, demographic research we provided to you, the zoning framework, detailed recommendations for the zoning to support the kind of development that you in the community want to see along Main Street, with the downtown core and edge, and working with Vanderwall and actually establishing what is that ordinance going to look like in order to be able to achieve those results. Again, as I said, the design concepts for those tactical projects, and then just moving into really just broader stakeholder community engagements for Main Street. As it relates to I-90 and Rockton Road, a lot of that work is been focused around the market analysis, land use planning concepts that we presented to you back in November. We've been doing a property inventory assessment of development ready sites. What are the barriers to some sites being ready? And as you know, there's large property holders out there, and really understanding what will it take to move the needle for development there. We have a stakeholder framework in place to really move out with more engagement with those property owners, prioritize Main Street in this first quarter, but looking to move that forward here soon. Some implementation progress. In addition, that you'll see on page 11, the Business District Alliance, getting that off the ground. The three property RFP that was completed and released. And then we have applied to a couple of grant applications, AARP Community Challenge that was submitted early March. And then the T-Mobile Grant Pop-Up Retail Programming Grant was submitted at the end of March. And then we're finalizing the website and marketing materials so that we're delivering to you as relates to Main Street. Page 12 just again highlights just some of that work overall from a timeline standpoint, which really leads me to 13 as it looks in terms of critical transition point here, moving out of the planning work and to really more heavily into implementation. I really feel we've got a good momentum going with stakeholders. All of you have played a role in really rallying the community members, residents nearby for Main Street, as well as helping us with the work out on I-90 and Rockton Road. So mobilizing that momentum and path to really advance these projects that we've identified, converting these concepts to actual buildable projects, and really structuring it for success. And so page 14 really gets into what's ahead as it relates to how we will approach our services, both areas of the community. But what we found in working with you in the last 12 or so months is there's other priority areas too that have been expressed beyond those two areas. And so we've been thinking about it as seeing us as providing a set of services for any corridor, any area within the community. Main Street is more than just this downtown or this section that we've really focused on. So you're just seeing there are those services that we can help to provide. And then 15 and 16, just for you to consider some recommended priorities going forward for both Main Street. Really believe the Main Street District Alliance, so momentum there with the business owners and property owners. It's going to go a long way on the implementation side, finishing up the tactical projects and continuing to other grant funding opportunities, and then specific property development. What is going well, what isn't going well with the properties, opportunities for development, and then evaluating, talked about before, does it make sense to have a TIF district, business development district, the pros and cons of that. So really moving forward on that. And similar as it relates to I-90, the anchor development strategy there, we really believe that interchange, you have such a significant opportunity to really expand the industrial manufacturing and smaller scale corporate locations to that corridor, as well as capturing some more commercial retail activity. We've provided our research shows about roughly this. Doesn't mean you'll land all $47 million worth of retail activity at the interchange, but the possibilities of retailers that would locate at that interchange is pretty strong. So last page 17, really again, just what the next 12 months could be. Another 12-month agreement with you, and this would be a much more flexible resource allocation. So we would continue our work on Main Street, but really start to advance a lot more work at the I-90 Rockton Road and other areas as desired. Just the last part, 18, again, choosing us. We're a mix of strategists, planners, designers, and architects, and very excited not only about the work that has happened so far, but really seeing these plans come to fruition in both of these areas coming forward. And then the last is really just the team. So it's not just me, Jeff Mackey, project manager, John, place designer, Michelle, as creative deck director, have all played a part on our team with the results that you've seen. Just I wanted to give you that summary. But entertaining questions, but.
I think there has been a lot of movement over the last several months. And we keep talking about the zoning, I guess. I keep asking again because I need to write it down for agreement. When are we going to have the public hearing? When are we actually going to have something here put forward to review and vote on? For zoning
I have the
changes?
draft from Vanderwall. I'll email it out to the board to look at. You some time, take a look at it, decide any questions on it, and then we'll schedule that for a public hearing as well. I have that this week, so I can get it out to everybody.
And David, you said part of this process is to assess what's worked well and what hasn't. How would we go about doing that? How would you facilitate that?
Yeah, I mean, we could have, if you want to have another session with me and, we could do it. We've been doing quarterly trustee planning sessions, more if it's with you, as staff to talk through, like, really want your feedback of what you feel like we've done really well over the last 12 months and where you would like to see improvements going forward. Where do you feel like we didn't deliver? That's helpful for us in general, but we want to make sure that we are delivering what we said we would deliver for you. So.
And we mentioned the creation of the business alliance. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that, and our next meeting is scheduled for the 28th. And we're going to send out email reminders to everybody. What do you see as a follow-up to that, the last two meetings?
So we got really good feedback from the first session around the mission, the vision, the commitments of this business alliance. And the feedback that we captured was mainly around the commitments and less about the mission and vision. And so, which is good, there's just more technical language to edit there. So we'll bring that back to the group to make sure that everyone agrees that this, because ultimately that'll be used in the 501c3 filing. And that's, so there's a parallel track of going down that process of getting it structured, as well as there were projects. If you remember, we asked people, what are those opportunities that we could actually leverage, actually implement this year or next year, building off of the work of Pavilion Street, Bridge Street Pavilion, and then the upcoming pop-up. So we're going to bring all that back, help distill that, show what people said, and then start forming groups, working groups to move in execution.
What
Time is it?
The group had decided for. So when we send out the invitation reminder, if we were just to identify 3 bullet points, they would be conversations about the next step public event. Isn't that what came out of the group?
Yeah, the group, where it landed is how do we basically create a commerce retail experience at Bridge Street Pavilion once that is the construction is completed. So that was one major idea where people felt like creating like a sort of a weekend experience, helping people to linger here more, support the existing businesses within this corridor, but then also have a destination lingering type of event, whether it's an all-day Saturday or, those logistics haven't been thought through, but that's where the group landed to say, as soon as we, ribbon cut on that pavilion, start getting that as a key rhythm, key experience within the community. There's some other ideas that emerged too, and we want to bring those up next week as well, just to see where that fits in priorities and resources.
Our desire, I think, even within the group, was that out of those people who attend, that organically there would emerge some leadership here.
That's correct.
Within that. And so if that happens at the next meeting, when do we put in place or go about organizing that 501c?
Well, I think we want to follow up. There were some folks that confirmed or said that they have experience being on boards, being in this type of setting. So I think we want to make that direct ask to see who would be willing to serve as a board member. But we didn't want that to really slow down the momentum of getting a project going. So that's why I'm saying 2 parallel tracks. But I think we want to see who raises their hand and then figure out if there are others in the community, because some people didn't attend that workshop. That will probably be next week, and want to make sure we get the right composition.
David, do you have an agenda already for this meeting?
There's a general 3 bullet points. I sent that to you and Joe. The agenda, the formal agenda, I'll have that drafted before the packet or Thursday.
And then my last, have other people chime in. Going forward with this on call, there will be a lot of things yet to wrap up regarding Main Street. So it might be just tossing something out there, maybe a 30% split Main Street and 70% economic development for the I-90 Rockton corridor. That's going to be our focus. Forward if the board agrees.
Yeah, I would say if the board can come to 3 priorities, whether it's geographical areas or 3 areas of focus, then we would direct our time in that way.
Other questions?
How's this contract up? Hey,
That couple months?
yeah,
General in June, I think.
sorry.
End of June, is that when it's
End of
been, yeah,
Well, our current contract ended in March,
Well, it's up right now.
April, so it's up.
okay.
So we're operating without a contract right now.
Yeah, which we're finishing up with. We had 3 contracts at one point, then we're finishing up Main Street, and then now we're 2, I guess, the Main Street, and then
Yeah, Main Street is
General.
done, and then the general.
that's one thing.
Company.
So we're up, yeah, we're up,
They
It's like,
overlap.
it's a yearly agreement, right? And it's
Yeah.
$6,000 a month.
so we're up, yeah, just,
Is the new agreement going to be a yearly agreement? It's gonna be the same rate?
It's gonna be, yeah, I would offer to present to you a 12-month agreement, so you know what the monthly fixed fee is for that, and that's gonna be predicated on the priority. So once you tell me the priority areas, and I can refine what that final number is, but this would be a merger of the 2 from the last time. Obviously, Main Street has less work this go around, so.
then we got that committee for discussion too, so, yeah, and you got here now, ask him, and then, yeah.
Absolutely. Stick around for it, or?
No, so you need to ask those questions now.
Yeah, my other question would be, how can we improve transparency and communication with the individual trustees with place boundaries? More detail. I know we have these considerations, but I think that would be helpful for us to know, even just for instance, the bullet points. I know it's last minute, but just what's going on. Maybe some more guidance on the delivery properties where we want to put on an RFP. Probably should have been RFQ, right? I think that we have so much in there that we haven't gotten any bids, right? I think it's prohibitive for some of our local folks here, businesses that are interested in approaching it. It's sort of cumbersome. So I guess that would be a question there. How can we work with you? And has there been other charges outside the $6,000 a month? It's just been, everything's been included in that. So we haven't had any individual pricing on that. So I think it'd be helpful to get just sort of what the contract looks like, when it's going to start, and what the monthly cost.
Anyone else?
After we review the zoning, how long does it take to make it active? Is that something that happens right away once we approve it, or?
Depends on.
You wanna hit the timeline?
Yeah, so the general timeline for the zoning is that I had sent it to Joe a little bit ago for maybe look over one more time, send out to you guys to maybe take a look, provide comments. We do have in our contract that there would be some sort of public open house, public can come in, take a look at it, offer some feedback as well, and then come for the public hearing and through the ZBA, they come up to here and take a final look and get it implemented. But from there, I think it's mostly dictated by the market, or maybe you guys have some program that you're gonna have that maybe spurs a little bit of it. We have some interest from developers in doing maybe like almost a kickoff project, almost like a proof of concept kind of thing with some of the zoning things that we'd be putting into that ordinance. So, it's already, the wheels are starting to turn, I think, zoning wise, even before the ordinance is put into place.
Would you say within, once the public once the public hearing is scheduled within 30 days, then there could be the formal adoption or initial adoption?
Yeah, I would say within,
Depends on ZBA timing, but yeah, plus or minus 3 days, yeah.
So July,
Looking at a couple months.
anyone else?
Are all your agreements, 12-month on call? Do you do some agreements with other villages where it's sort of, parcel work?
A la carte.
Yeah.
We do lump sum, we have found that the 12-month has been preferred, but yeah, we can do, you're gonna get lump sum, whether it's 12 months or a shorter time.
And when we get the RFP, or the proposal for the.
Well, I wanted to have this discussion and then have you guys discuss about what you want to see in it. But yeah, we can, I think we've got one, we held off finding it out until we actually knew what you wanted to see, or if you wanted to see place boundary continue, if you wanted some tweaks to it, if you wanted different type of agreement. So, yeah, that's absolutely that.
So do you have an RFP, but in the.
For RFP, or you mean like
Like the proposal for the new.
agreement, yeah, we've got, well, I don't know if it's up to date as much, but yeah, we have
It's
a
a
draft.
draft.
Yeah, we have a draft.
Priority use establishing the priorities, and I'll edit that and I can provide that, so that can be
Right,
done
Put
anytime.
it on until you guys discuss it, because that way, like, we're not
Right.
forcing it down your throat here. We want you to tell us what you want to see and what you like, don't like, then we'll get that, we'll put it in the packet for next. meeting.
So, jot down your ideas of what it is you would like to see in this, and it's item number 6 on committee of the whole, and make that list, have the conversation and fleshed out.
The timeline would be for this, committee holds initial just discussion, right? So we're
Right,
not doing anything on that, but I'm just concerned about the agreement not being that open, like we're operating without an agreement right now.
And just a carry over.
It's-
I mean,
we
we're
had
gonna
done
same
that
terms.
with the engineer's contract also.
Just continues on sort of, well, like a month to month,
Right.
even for like a piece. Idea.
Thank you very much, David, appreciate
Yeah,
it,
thank you.
and if you can stay, if there are questions under committee of the whole, well, right, for the sign to me, via email another time. Thank you. Right, going on then to treasurer's report, cash report and the bills. You have before you tonight expenditures totaling $192,848.12. Payroll, $113,683.07, making the total expenditures for this evening of $306,531.19. There are no motor fuel expenditures this period. So is there a motion to pay bills this evening?
Second. What's the total?
The total of all expenditures, $306,531.19.
Leaves us at
Operating, the pool checking account balance after expenditures, $8,090,993.62.
Deed,
Yes.
right,
yes.
Becca,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
And Zach.
Yes.
No year-to-date revenue expenditure report at this time. Going on to the consent agenda, I will read each of these items, 7, 8, and 9, and then ask for one vote on all 3 of them. So may I have a motion to approve resolution 2025 R23, approving Northern Illinois Service Company for the quoted amount of $8,850 to demolish the Riverside Park Pavilion. That is the one closest to the entry. And the second item, the motion to approve resolution 2025-R24, declaring certain items of personal property surplus, authorizing their sale and disposition. The list of items, if you weren't able to read about it, an F550 crew cab, dump truck, F550 dump truck, Peterbilt dump truck, case loader, JGL bucket lift, and Dyna Weld trailer. Item 9, motion to approve resolution 2025-R25, engaging Bear Graham and Associates for the design engineering services for pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Main Street and Bridge Street. This concerns the safety improvements up at the corner. So may I have a motion to approve these 3 items?
So moved.
Second.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Under new business, may I have a motion to suspend the rules for item number 10, so that all of the machinery here can get self-organized. This is a reoccurring event. They did it last year. Oh, if you remember, that was kind of 3 or 4 or 6 inch blood, but anyway, is there a motion to suspend the rules to approve a special event permit for All World Machinery to have a summer party, and at the summer party to have fireworks events comes before you? This will happen on Saturday, June 21st. So may I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. Second.
Suspension. Sorry, we vote first to suspend, so you call everyone's name and
Simon,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
Thank you.
now may I have a motion to approve the special event permit?
So moved.
Second.
Fire department's okay.
Yes, the. And the technician all checked out, same person, just as last, same form.
Wright,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
and Babcock.
Yes.
Right, on that one, I've asked to remind you that the elected officials are invited to that, as we were last year as well. Good chance you meet some of the business owners.
That's very nice event. And it doesn't store. Okay, item number 11. May I have a motion to suspend the rules on this, and we'll have some further explanation. But is there a motion to suspend the rules and make resolution 2025-R26 our residential road maintenance improvement program on final vote tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Wright,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
and Simon.
Yes.
Now, as part of the approval of this, I'll ask Brandon to just, again, for the new board members to identify the streets and just briefly what the timeline is. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2025-R26, our residential road repair and maintenance program for 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so during the budget time, the previous council approved the following roadways to be resurfaced. That would be Hodges Run, Hodges Way, Hazel Close, Prairie Wind Place, Andrews Drive, Parkway Drive, and then Terramack Court. So essentially it's the Hodges Run subdivision and the roads surrounding the library. So what you have in your packets is roughly 95% complete plans and specifications. We wanted to get them in front of the board, seeking authorization to go out for bid. As of right now, the timeline for that project, obviously, hopefully, we get approval tonight.
next week, that would be May 28th or May 29th, we would advertise the bids in the newspaper to satisfy the village's purchasing policy. And on Quest CDN, which is contractor's website where they download the plans and specifications. On June 10th, we would hold the bid opening at Village Hall. Usually we set that for 10 a.m. It's a public, open to the public, open to trustees. Anybody who wants to attend that is able to. 1 week from that date would be June 17th. We would come to the board with an official recommendation for awarding the contract to the lowest bidder. We'd have a couple weeks of contracts to get worked out, but then we anticipate construction beginning sometime in July, likely after the July 4th holiday. We did set an aggressive completion date on this to get the project done much earlier in the season than we have historically. So we set a substantial completion date where most work would need to be done, aside from final punch list items, restoration, minor things. That would be August 15th. And then we are requiring a final completion date, which includes final paint or quantities ready for final payment. And that would be August 29th. So our goal is to have this project completely closed out by the end of August.
And for new trustees, this had been discussed many times during the year. It was part of the planning process and the dollar amount appropriated for it. So we have a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a motion to, and we have a motion to approve this residential street program. So call for the vote. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay,
You pick a name.
Mead,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Broda,
Yes.
Epcot.
Yes.
That was funny.
I was waiting for, like, never mind.
No, that was tricky.
Yeah, you threw me off.
First and second.
Just a test to see if you listen.
I was listening.
Item number 12. Some of us have become very familiar with this and some of us not, so we'll try this. Is there a motion to suspend the rules of ordinance 2025-08, approving an annexation and map amendment from the UT Urban Transitional District to RE Single Family Residential Estate District for 18.5 acres of property commonly known as 92XX Sheringham Drive? Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Sorry.
So Broda and Frank.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Simon,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Epcot,
Yes.
Broda,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Now, is there a motion to approve said annexation and map amendment in ordinance 2025-08?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Those of you who are not familiar with this, the twigs are here today. If you remember, do you have the map?
I'll pick up right now.
The agreement is that they will build their single home on the 18.545 acres, and the remaining of property will remain under the county jurisdiction or classification. And Sheringham Drive will end in a cul-de-sac that the twigs will build and turn over to the village, so that Sheringham Drive here is ending at the cul-de-sac, and then their private drive goes onto their property, so that there are no other roadways that will traverse this property. Questions? Okay. We have a motion to suspend and a motion to approve. Ask for the vote.
Right,
Yes.
Epcot,
Yes.
Broda,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
and Simon.
Yes.
Item 13, is there a motion? May I have a motion to approve travel expenses for the village clerk to attend the Illinois Clerks Conference?
So moved.
And the clerk is excited to go. She has a mentor lined up. It's a couple of day event. to be very, very work. We thank you for getting it organized. Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Okay. Me? Oh, is that?
Did we do a motion?
Yeah,
Yes.
Rhoda and Pip.
We're calling them.
Okay, yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
Condition.
I guess I messed up. A vote to suspend. The rules. This is in a couple weeks, isn't it?
It's June,
Yes, we have to suspend. So that's. I may have a motion to suspend the rules and make.
So moved.
So that's the vote. Sorry, I'm sorry about
You're
that.
throwing me off.
I apologize.
Okay, hold on. Babcock,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yes.
Okay, now, is there a motion to approve the travel expense?
So moved.
Mead,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Before we get to the project updates, I would like to introduce to new board members, the board attorney. He thought it was joke like it's, but it is Attorney Tom Green. So he's going to introduce himself and he has some words of wisdom to share with the board members. All of us.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'm Tom Green. I'm an attorney with Berg Schweitzer, long Boston than ever. I've been doing municipal work for longer than I'm fair to say, but 35+ years representing a variety of municipalities. Mayor did ask me to do a quick review of trustee duties and responsibilities. It'll be brief, primarily focused at our new trustees, but if anybody else gets any benefit out of it, that'll be a side benefit. So I'll start by saying a very basic, simple statement. When a trustee is elected, that person becomes a member of the board of trustees. That seems like a simple statement, but what that reflects is also what the trustee is not. And the trustee is not an employee of the village. You're here, you're doing your responsibility, but you're not an employee. You're not being directed by administrative staff, nor are you a supervisor directing other staff. You work with the trustees and you do the job of the trustees. Together with the mayor, trustees constitute the corporate authorities. Some votes under the legislature require a majority of trustees. Some votes under the legislature require a majority of the corporate authorities. So it can go both ways. The trustees' central role in a municipality is legislative. Trustees consider and vote on ordinances, resolutions, and motions. Business conducted by the trustees during a properly noticed village board meeting, they conduct their duties during a properly noticed board meeting, committee meeting, commission meeting, liquor committee, whatever it happens to be. The trustees' ability to act outside of properly noticed meetings is restricted somewhat by the rules of the Open Meetings Act. I'll mention more of that in a moment. Trustees facilitate or authorize in one way or another virtually all final action on behalf of the village. It's a very important role. I mean, if the board hasn't approved it, it isn't going to happen. You're the beginning, frankly, and you're the end before documents get signed and things move forward. Trustees pass ordinances and resolutions approving the budget, amending the village code, regulating land use, authorizing the president or the village administrator to execute documents or agreements, whether redevelopment agreements or intergovernmental agreements with other units of local government, and more. I mean, you can think of purchasing property, various other things that you do. That's all done legislatively. However, trustees, whether under the Illinois Municipal Code, the state statutes, or within the village code, have no specific individual authority to act on behalf of the village or to bind the village in any way. working the community is something you all do because you're elected trustees, but initiatives have to be brought back to the village for implementation. In contrast, the day-to-day operation of the village, in the statute, the chief executive officer, mayor, in conjunction with the village administrator and the village staff, basically run the day-to-day operations of the village. Trustees' participation beyond action at a village board level are limited by the Open Meetings Act. The simplest statement is no communication may occur between more than two of you, of two of the 7 members relating to village business outside of the village meeting. Mayor and a trustee can have a conversation about village business. A trustee and a trustee can have a discussion about village business, can have communications regarding village business outside a properly noticed meeting, but that's the max. Communications include, and you probably are aware of this, I'm sure that the trustees that have been around are, but it includes a group email. That is a communication in violation of the Open Meetings Act. Group text, conference call, and very obviously in-person communications. Such communications of more than 2 people, again, constitute a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You don't want to mess with that. It's a Class C misdemeanor. It's in fact a crime. Although in my 35 years, I've never seen anyone ever prosecuted for a violation of the Open Meetings Act, but it's still, you need to respect the law. Additionally, under the Open Meetings Act, it is a trustee's duty and obligation to be present in person at board and committee meetings. Attendance by other means is quite limited and may only occur in accordance with and to the extent allowed by rules previously adopted by the public body, consistent with the OMA. Roscoe has rules about attendance by other means. The rules were established in 2013. I've looked at them. They are consistent with the state statute. Maybe a minor tweak would be helpful, but it is somewhat cumbersome. You need to notify the clerk. You need to have there's 4 specific reasons: illness, family emergency, business, you're called away for business, or they added recently or somewhat recently, childcare issues. Those are the only reasons. And there has to be a majority of a quorum present. And that group who are present need to make a motion to authorize that person to attend electronically. So it's in the COVID era, it became just everybody attended electronically. The rules were completely and utterly relaxed for obvious good reason, but it's back to the old ways. I would note, and I believe the new trustees are hopefully aware of this. There is an OMA electronic training course, which you are required to complete within 90 days of taking office. And I know Joe's got the link to that. Probably had it. I think I sent one. So, and I have in fact done that probably 3 times in my long career. It's not a bad refresher if anybody hasn't done it 3 or 4 or 5 years. It's not bad to go ahead and review that training course. So coming back all the way around to where I started, in conclusion, kind of the trustees' primary duties are legislative. Trustees initiate action at board and committee level to get things started, get projects moving. Then they bring projects to completion by giving the final authority to engage or sign or execute or whatever needs to happen at the end. That's basically a 2-step process for a lot of things. All right, I've rambled on fast, maybe too fast, but I'm happy to answer questions with regard to some of the comments I've made. Otherwise,
So that's a question. So I don't know that. So you're saying if we're not going to be here present, you tell the clerk, and then they take a vote at the time you start the meeting,
right?
Whether you could join electronically.
Yeah, that's the process in the statute, and it has to be for one of those.
Okay.
it can't be. Well, I'm not gonna come up with something, but it's gotta be a medical emergency, it's gotta be work. It can't be I'm on vacation business, I'm dialing in for, I left my family down at the beach and I'm dialing in, that's not.
So what's the penalty for not attending then? I mean, you can not attend, you just can't,
That would be an excuse, I mean,
you just can't join the meeting.
there's no firing a trustee, you're elected, you're gonna serve your term.
Whether we like it or not.
Right. I mean,
Like, it's new to me, because I don't think we
Yes,
actually.
You're right, I'll argue that, yes, we
Never done
I've
that.
been a little more lax on it. We wrote that in 2013, then COVID happened. There's some attorney general opinions that came out that clarified the statute a little more. Attorney Green came on board, looked at our rules and pointed out that maybe we
commented
our
about
procedures slightly.
Gotta,
tighten up our-
it just seemed like a good time.
I think Mike, I would remember a time when somebody didn't show up to many meetings, and there wasn't any vote. Before we.
Correct. Way we wrote the ordinance originally was that it was sort of a pre-approved with that resolution that we passed, the rules we passed. There's an AG opinion that came out that said that, no, actually you need to do it per meeting.
And honestly,
And so,
the statute's written to make it hard to attend electronic.
Yeah.
And I think they did that. The legislature did that because the responsibility of being an elected trustee is to be. And being here, if it's just, well, I'm driving around and I should be able to make it, in an hour or, I'll be there for the second meeting.
and we'll note though that what we,
Pickleball.
the excuse, they have the excuses, but the reasons why anytime we've had remote meetings so far, attendance, it's always been one of those three reasons. Like, we've been very strict on that, absolutely. It's not like we haven't been, just very free on that. It's more the procedure of approving it essentially on per meeting basis of it. So I think I'm sure we'll have more remote attendance from people in the future. So we'll tweak those votes, but it's not changing too much. It's just making sure we're a little more tight on our.
Well, and the rule you have is decent and maybe just.
It's just-
get it out to everybody so you can have from fresh recollection. You're supposed to give a day's notice. But it does say unless that is in, if you fall ill or have a sudden. Call away for business, that's okay.
Do you have a understanding of what happened that caused the Open Meetings Act to be passed?
Well,
Has that been around?
it predates me, and it's been around forever. I think it's basic black letter law of government. I mean, you show up, you have the public able to hear and listen to what you do. And the concept of having side discussions by a quorum or more than a quorum is offensive to the concept of having everything open to the public. That would be my.
But that is related to actual village business, but to get together with other trustees.
I mean, you guys could, don't get,
As long as you're not-
understand, you can get in a car and all four of you drive into the IML, just don't talk about village business.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on your honor. You can all have dinner together, you can go to a tour at a place and
Like ComEd.
like ComEd and,
All world machine.
but you can't discuss village business. David talked about going to something where you're looking at what's gonna happen. I mean, that's village business, but you're gonna review you're gonna be educated on this, but you're not gonna take a vote, you're not gonna be talking. That's the rule. Does a little bit of whispering happen here and there? I'm sure it probably does, but.
Tom, the Open Meetings Act tutorial within 60 days.
It's
and
90.
90 days, and then that completion is sent where?
You do it online and it is.
Somebody goes to the clerk.
You get thank you. You get a certificate,
But those officials who were reelected, they do or do not have to.
I don't think
I think
re-elections are
it's
required.
once- I think it's once, on there.
I'd have to double check
That's
if
what-
there's,
yeah,
if it like
that's what-
expires, but it's not hard. There's no failing it, and it only takes about, I don't know, last time I did it, maybe a half hour.
I just did it Saturday.
So how long did it take? 45 minutes, half hour?
Yeah, well,
And it's not bad. I mean,
that's how much you put into it.
it educates on the process.
Oh, and we're talking about this stuff too, or restart. So we got our IML municipal handbooks in. These are the 2025 version, it's been a few years since they updated them. All the trustees have one of these. There's also electronic version, it's in your board packet or your board reference documents as well. But yeah, this is something we've been getting for trustees. I think the current or the prior board had older versions of it, so everybody's got the brand new version of it. Really good information about everything to do with everything municipal, really.
The book is
Good
outstanding.
summary.
I brought one
Of
to everything
everything.
in my younger days and there were yellow tabs sticking out all over the
Yep,
place.
I've got it very well marked up right now, so.
Highlighted and comments.
So when is the test on that?
And this. Every day you're a trustee.
Well, and kind of. This the first year, you can get a PDF of
Yeah.
all 500 pages for
Yep.
free. Or you get the book for Madison, very expensive.
And back to communication, text, email, what can be FOIA?
Frankly, the FOIA, virtually anything. I mean, if you're texting on your private phone, but it's village business to other related to village business, that is FOIAble. It gets copied and it gets turned over. So be careful with that sort of stuff. Obviously, texting between trustees during a meeting is kind of not a thing you should do.
Anyone have questions? Thank you.
How can trustees hold of you? How can people get hold of you?
Oh,
You've got my seat,
I will finally report out to the board, but I guess are you willing to
My-
talk to trustees and have them call you?
yeah,
Right, yeah, yep.
assuming it's okay with the
Oh,
village
yeah,
administration, you
yeah.
can call me anytime you want.
Yep.
And my cell number,
We'll forward
everybody,
that out to our make sure we.
everybody can have my cell number. I'll give it to you right now on TV. I give my cell, you know what? I'm
Let's go to an
in
answer.
I'm in a service industry, so anybody who wants to get a hold of me, I'll be able to get a hold of.
So, just our new trustees, old trustees know that, but new
If
trustees.
it's 10 o'clock
That's our-
tonight, I'm out to dinner with my wife, I probably won't answer, but I'll answer on Sunday morning.
Tom and his firm, that's our village attorney, so if you have any questions, any sort of legal issue. Feel free to give Tom a call.
Thanks,
thank
Tom.
you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Right, to our project updates, subdivision identification signage.
These are things that we're asked to address by various trustees. So the first one is the signage update. That's always been sort of on my schedule for the June 3rd or the June meetings. To get those sort of moving forward, getting those in there. So those will be coming up the next couple meetings. Hydrogen incubator project, those specs are completed. I think they got back the information from their structural engineer that we were waiting for on. So the board, I'll email those out ahead of time anyway to you guys, once I get the final version, which I think we do have now. And then that will be on the June 3rd meeting for committee to hold discussion. That's where we can discuss on that. But it will be on next board meeting, specifications for that. And then ceiling fast pitch, question was about that, was that approved and have they made their payments? So it was approved, in March, we approved it. It's been signed by all parties and the first two payments were made. I think the last payment is May is due. And they'll be complete on that for the year for the payments. So that is complete as well.
Thank you. Troy, did you want to give a little update about Public Works Week so far? The one event that was fun? I mean, you have lots of events that are fun, I said. Good job.
But for interesting way.
Last Friday, Olson Park, grade school, asked if we could do our duck drop that we usually do during Harlem has their big, kind of like a back to school different thing. And last year it was a big take. We had our bucket truck there. Kids, they sign a duck and then they have a number. We go way up there and we drop the ducks off of there to see who's closest to the circle and then the farthest away. And then they gave away prizes. So we tried that. They asked us to come last Friday. It was another big success up there. Even with the wind, we had to play the wind a little bit. The ducks went down, but all the kids, it's usually all the excitement. They play like that. And we have our public weeks
going on, Public Works Week's going on right now, out on our Facebook and it's on our website also. Today was like a scavenger hunt. Find bridges, signs, or and let them know that they can call the village if they have any problems with signage or see anything like that. Hopefully, by the end of the week, we get some more participation. So next year we can do a bigger event.
Thank you. And thanks to your crew for helping the tree cleanup of last week. And first person on the scene who noticed it, and Hanson, and mobilized everybody. Just came upon, let's just say your timing was great, not under it, but close by to see and call everybody. So it was cleared up quickly. Thank you, everybody who was involved. Right, public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to make public comment? None remotely. All right, no need for executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:46.